At some point, most of us have wondered where we actually stand, not compared to our neighbors or our colleagues, but compared to everyone, all 8 billion people on this planet. What does your income, your savings, your net worth actually mean in the full picture of human wealth? Let us start at the bottom and work our way up. The bottom 10% of the global population lives on less than $2 a day. That is not a dramatic figure used for effect. That is the documented daily reality for roughly 800 million people that no savings, no safety net. Every single day is a calculation between food and everything else. Wealth at this level is not measured in accounts or assets. It is measured in survival. Moving up to the bottom half of the world, the 50th percentile, and the number that defines it will genuinely surprise most people watching this. To be in the global top 50%, you need a net worth of just $4,210. That is not annual income. That is total wealth. If you have a few $1,000s saved, own a modest vehicle, or have any positive assets at all, you are already in the upper half of every person alive on Earth today. Sit with that for a second. Now here's where things get interesting. The top 10% globally starts at a net worth of around $93,000. In wealthy countries like the US, UK, Australia, or Canada, that sounds like a number many working adults could reach in their 30s or 40s. But globally, crossing that threshold puts you in a category shared by fewer than 1 in 10 humans alive today. The top 1% starts at approximately $1 million in net worth. There are roughly 59 million people in that group worldwide, which sounds like a lot until you remember there are 8 billion of us. That is less than 1% of the room, in a room the size of the entire planet. And then there is the top 0.1%, net worth of $5 million or more. This is the layer where generational wealth begins, where money starts producing more money faster than it can be spent, where the rules of financial reality quietly shift. About 5.9 million people worldwide sit here. Above even that is a group so small it almost defies imagination. The world's 2,700 billionaires collectively hold more wealth than the bottom 60% of the entire global population combined. 2,700 individuals for 0.8 billion people. Same pile of wealth. That number is not presented here to make you angry. It is presented because it is simply true, and understanding the actual shape of global wealth is the only honest starting point for understanding where you stand within it. So where does the average person in a developed country fall? A household in the United States with a net worth of $100,000 sits comfortably inside the global top 8%. A household worth $500,000 enters the top 1% globally. The median American household net worth, around $192,000 according to the Federal Reserve, places the average American family in roughly the top 5% of all wealth on Earth. Most people in wealthy nations are, by global standards, already wealthy. The cognitive dissonance comes from the fact that we measure ourselves against the people immediately around us, our friends, our social media feeds, our neighborhoods, rather than against the full spectrum of human economic reality. Psychologists call this relative deprivation. It is the reason someone earning $150,000 a year can genuinely feel financially behind, while someone in the global majority would consider that income unimaginable. We calibrate our sense of enough based on the comparison set we are exposed to daily. And in the age of social media, that comparison set is relentlessly skewed toward the top. Here is the shift that actually matters. Understanding your global percentile is not about guilt. It is not about dismissing real financial struggle in wealthy countries, because cost of living is real and local context matters enormously. It is about recalibrating your baseline. When you know that having any savings at all puts you ahead of half the world, and that crossing $100,000 in net worth places you in the global top 10, the framing around wealth building changes. The question stops being, why am I so far behind? And starts being, what do I actually want to build from here? That is a far more productive question. The data on global wealth comes from the Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report and the World Inequality Database, two of the most comprehensive ongoing studies of wealth distribution on Earth. These are not political documents. They are measurements. And what they measure is a world where wealth is distributed far more unevenly than most people intuitively understand, but also a world where If you are watching this video, you are almost certainly further ahead in the global picture than you realize. Knowing where you stand is the first move. What you do from here is the rest of the game. If this gave you a new way of looking at things, hit the like button and subscribe. Small creators like me genuinely run on your support. And if you want a complete money printing YouTube workflow, you cannot afford to miss the video on your screen right now.